Now, we've got the 9th ANC Free State Provincial Elective Conference, which is expected to finally get underway. Now, the first day, as you would have imagined, would have been filled with a lot of drama after the registration of delegates was disrupted by disgruntled members. Now, we did have an NEC member, David Mahlobo, who we heard from a little short while ago, who's condemned these actions by those who are disgruntled, and he says the conference will go on despite any disruptions that are caused. Now, if we give you a brief history of what's been happening in the Free State, just like in the Northwest, they have struggled quite gravely to convene a provincial conference. As a result, I meant the Western Cape. As a result, their participation in the national conference that took place in December in Mangaung was gravely limited because of their lack of resolution on leadership in their provinces. So it's set to take place this weekend, and I've just mentioned that there was a little bit of a hurdle when it came to the registrations. We do have Moloko Moloto, who is on the ground and joins us now for the very latest. Very good morning to you, Moloko. And I was just reminding our viewers, like the Western Cape, the Free State has struggled to convene a provincial conference, and so their participation in the national elective conference in December was quite limited. Is there any hope that we're going to get some kind of finality in leadership in the province, considering the grave injustices that exist there when it comes to service delivery? We've got potholes, for example, the size of the Grand Canyon at the moment.
Good morning, Rofua Madzena. Well, the conference was meant to start yesterday. It was delayed. For instance, the registration of delegates was disrupted yesterday as the regions were registering their delegates to this provincial conference, and it had to resume at a later stage. I don't know up to so far as to whether they have been able to register all the delegates. The man who can respond to that question is Opa Khwabane. He's the spokesperson for the ANC in the Free State. Ndadema Khwabane, thank you so much for your time. You were delayed yesterday. The unhappy ANC members stormed into the registration center, disrupting everything. Up to so far, what has been the progress?
Good morning. Yes, yesterday we continued with the registration of all delegates, including the issues that were raised by those people who came to protest. The same way as we were saying yesterday, that the expectation was that whoever is having grievances must take it up with the committee that deals with dispute resolution, so that these matters can be resolved. And people who came to protest, late in the evening, they decided then to follow the route that we had requested. They went to the dispute resolution committee, and a lot of cases were dealt with. And some of them, I saw them on social media today. They were happy that they got accredited.
And let's talk about those disputes which they were lodging. The one, Mr. Mahlobo, who is a member of the National Executive Committee of the ANC, said yesterday that I think there were about 53 branches that were complaining, or whose members were complaining. Some of the complaints included the alleged removal of legitimate delegates who had been nominated by branches to this province, and apparently they had been removed or replaced by people who were not mandated. Have you been able to determine if there was legitimacy there?
That can only be expressed by the dispute resolution committee, because it talks to the outcome of their own adjudication. So we rely on what they decided, and like I'm saying, I saw a lot of people.
So in other words, they have not communicated the outcomes of this discussions they have had with the complainants.
No, remember, like I'm saying, those complainants, instead of following what we requested, which they were supposed to have done in the morning, they started with a protest.
Yeah, but my question is, the ANC's Dispute Resolution Committee that is headed by Mr. Manana is an ANC committee, and you as the structure in the province are working with them. Do I understand you to be saying that if you cannot speak to that, it is because they have not briefed you?
No, they ran the process, like I'm saying, when I left the venue, it was at past 11 in the evening, and they were still working on those things. That's why I'm saying those people decided to go late in the evening to that. So as I'm coming here, we have not received the full report of the committee, because they had to work overnight on the matter.
All right, let's talk then quickly about the program for today. You are delayed already. You have lost a full day yesterday. What's going to be happening? We know Mr. Gwedamandashe was supposed to open this conference. What will be happening in a nutshell today?
The steering committee of the conference will then be finalizing to decide how to restructure the program. But the essence of what has to happen here will still take place as scheduled.
A lot of people, not only your delegates, but the members of the ANC who could not be here, would be interested in the election of top five leaders. When is their nomination going to happen, and when are we likely to know those who would have emerged?
That has to happen today. Immediately after adoption of the credentials, the process will start. And that will be obviously conducted by this independent elections.
You think by the end of today we will be knowing who's the chairperson of the ANC?
It will depend on the work of that agency. They are the ones who would know the time they need to do all that work.
What time are you starting officially with the program?
We are supposed to start any time from now, because a delegate was still streaming in.
All right. Dade Obakhwabane, we'll still be talking to you about a whole lot of other issues that affect this program. Rofiwa, you'll understand that not only the election of the top five officials and the additionals matter, but also the policies which must be discussed by delegates here, just how they will be streamlining decisions of policies that are adopted at the national conference and try to make them relevant to this province. The issue of service delivery, municipalities across this province, for instance, have had to return 800 million rand that had been allocated to them to provide services. Because they could not spend that money, the National Treasury has had to take that money back. So those and many other issues, water. In this province, for instance, there's still an issue of bucket toilet system. So those are the issues which people would be interested in, beyond as who is becoming the chairperson, because these are issues that people are confronted with on daily basis, and they surely would need change. And the ANC, the interest is that the ANC is the governing party, and it would be important for the party to take the lead.
You're absolutely correct there, Moloko Moloto. It doesn't matter who the leader is. What matters is if we are getting those basic services that we have been promised upon the dawn of our democracy. And it's encouraging, and the midterm budget policy statement, the Minister of Finance did indicate that it would play a closer role in the allocation and the expenditure of municipal budgets to make sure that service delivery does happen there. As usual, Moloko will catch up with you a little later on as you follow developments around this conference. That is Moloko Moloto in the Free State, following developments around the ANC Provincial Conference.